Hey, morning. We're going to go around, I'll show you around a little bit of what I did yesterday. You know that I was getting into mill cleanup, cleaned up all around the mill, took care of everything I needed to take care of, stacked my slabs. Sold a bunch of lumber yesterday too, which was good. Gonna go grab some early lunch because I got to mill some 16 footers today. But since I got everything cleaned up, I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna check the mill for level. I haven't done it in a while. And I'll show you the setup here, and we'll kind of go through it, see how quick we can level it here. So I'm gonna show you around first. So you know that my mill is sitting on, because this is kind of a temporary location, I think the mill's eventually gonna end up over here and probably perpendicular to it, going in this direction, I think, because we're gonna have a saw shop with a truck sitting. There's gonna be a deck, a covered deck out here, a work deck, and I think I want the mill running this way next to it. So it's in a temporary location. What it's sitting on right now is two 24-foot long 2x12s. I had leveled this area, you know, with the Bobcat, graded it out, checked it. I got it fairly close. It's on the mill deck right now. It's within, say, 3 inches front to back. It's just on the ground. But you can see I cleaned out this whole area, took all the sawdust out of here. I cleaned out under the mill, raked it all out. Got all my organic material kind of dumped up in the, where Kate's gonna have her hugel culture back here. And now I'm gonna check this thing for level. We see how far it's out, and just sitting on 2x12s. And the reason that I decided to go with that is for the flotation of them. You know, obviously double 2x12s gives me really good flotation on the ground here, although the mill can move. So you guys see me beat on this thing and how big of logs I put on it and everything, and rolling those logs, and it takes a beating. And when you're pushing logs in with the machine, you know, you can see where the feet can actually slide on 2x12s. Now I kind of moved it over a little bit. Thought I was centering it up because it is centered on that other one. This one's obviously moved a little bit over time because it's not centered on this one right now, but we're going to check her out for level. I'm going to go through, give her a good check to see which direction. You just can't start leveling feet. So I can't just start, you know, go to this cross bunk and see if it's level and start moving feet. It's not a good way. You got to have a pattern. You got to kind of see what the mill's doing before you start moving stuff. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the cross bunks. As you can see right now, just looking at the bubble on an 8-footer, you know, I'm fairly close. I'm good enough to mill. Obviously, it's a little bit low in the middle, which is kind of what I've been expecting to see. Side to side on these rails right here, just dropping this 4-footer on here. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. There you go. You can see that it's a little low on the left side, a little bit. The most important thing is the cross bunks, obviously. Let's just, for the sake of, see what this cross bunk looks like versus the side to side. And this is why I said that. Look at the cross bunk. Cross bunk's perfect. So actually these rails are not perfectly level to the cross bunk. So that actually, that one thing right there will affect your cut, because the height of your carriage, now I can't, granted down here, so before I get to saying a lot of shit, down here, that means that since this side's low, that means that my carriage on this side is low compared to where the log would sit if it was sitting on that cross bunk. And it's very, very minimal, but it is. So this cross bunk is twisted compared to this rail right here, and it's probably, to be honest with you, it's probably the rail. You know, this could be loosened and brought up, but it's so close that unless I get a big discrepancy, I'm not even going to mess with it. I am not going to level those rails and put that cross bunk out of level. I'd rather have the cross bunks all perfect, so that's what we're going to check first. I'm going to throw the 8-footer on the rails here just to see what the overall looks like really fast here. So I'm low down the mill head end on this side very, very slightly. Very, very, very slightly. I'm almost level. Let's go down here. We'll check it back the other way and hope it doesn't show the opposite, which would mean I'm sagging in the middle. And no, it's like perfectly, God, I wish this thing would focus. It's almost perfectly level here. So that means that it's counterintuitive. This is why you got to check everything, because that means that that end could actually be a teeny bit high. So if I brought that end down, I would fix this whole rail, that corner, just the corner. Let's go all the way out this way. I got to get my 4-footer off here so I can check it out to the end. Yep. And it's very, very, very slight. Very, very, very slight. But that means that that corner could come down. So rather than start wrenching on shit and starting bringing stuff up, to get this rail perfectly level right now, that corner needs to go down. Now, that means to me that this corner needs to go way down because it's actually high. So these are things that you got to think through before you start wrenching on just changing your level. Let's check this side. And that's what I was hoping to see. So that corner's high. It's very, got to make sure you get a good view without parallax. Very slightly high. So this corner needs to come down and that needs to go down right now. And then hopefully we see the same thing here, that this is either perfectly level or it's low in the middle, and it is perfectly level. It's perfectly level. So what the rails are telling me right now is that this rail down the saw head end and that rail are perfectly level this way. And it doesn't mean they're level to each other, but they're perfectly level front to back. That end right there is high. That corner has to come down more than that corner. Just slightly, very, very slightly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go along, we're going to check our bunks really quick. I'm just going to check the bunks and see what they look like. See if it's even worth even messing with. All right, right now my last 3 bunks on this side are showing that the tail end of the mill is slightly high. Very, very, very slightly high. Obviously my 8-foot level is not going to span all of them. Let's check these 2. Same thing. The tail end of the mill is slightly high. Let's check these 2. This is kind of more the business end of the mill. These are perfect. And this makes sense because what's happening is that area of the mill is taking all the beating and this end isn't. So that end is probably settled and this end is still high. It's very, very minimal. So even, you know, just for these things just sitting on the ground. Let's check the bunks on this side. Hopefully we're kind of seeing the same thing. Come on. Get you straight down. Oh, I can't get you straight. There you go. So it's straight down on it, and it's still showing the same thing, that the end is very, very slightly high. Very slightly. Not much at all. Hopefully we're starting to level out here. Yep. Trying to get you straight down view. We're perfectly level here. And we should be, yep, perfectly level here. Focus. Focus. Perfectly level here. So same thing, that all this down here, from the mill head this way, front to back, this is all level down here, and that end is slightly high, with that far corner slightly higher than the other. Just before I get to wrench it on it, because it's not going to take very much here. Not going to take very much at all, just a little. I could technically leave it the way it is. We're going to just go along. We're going to check all our cross bunks and see how they are side to side. Well, I already checked this one, it's level. Wish I could get it to focus, and just having trouble. See if I can focus it on my glove. This one's perfectly level. Hopefully that's consistent. And if you do show something that's out of level or weird, that's perfectly level. This is really, really good. That means that this mill is settled pretty evenly overall. This one's perfectly level. Don't want to see anything crazy. This one's perfectly level. And there is a little bit of a rock in this one, so that's good. Hopefully this one's perfectly level. We don't see something nutso here. So there is a little bit of a discrepancy in this rail. It's on right now. It's slightly out. Slightly low on this side, but it's kind of unfixable, to be honest with you. I'm gonna check this foot. Let's do this. Let's just kick this board right here and see if this foot's tight. Nope, it's a little bit loose. I'm gonna come up on that just a hair, just to tighten that up, and then adjust this one down here and that one down here, that one down just a little more. And then just double check these feet. I assume that this foot, it's kind of hard to tell, but that these feet aren't super tight. I could probably check if I kick this board right here. Yep, see that? This board moves. So that means that I might have to squeak down on these two to get that one tight too. And then if I do that, I'm messing all the middles. I got to make those feet tight first. So I have to squeak them down till they have pressure on them, and then we'll squeak down on this one. And when I put pressure on them, I don't want to raise it. All I want to do is make sure that those feet are tight. So that's kind of the game plan right now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make those 2 feet right there on those blocks snug, so that the blocks aren't moving. And then when I come down on this corner, that's going to settle more weight on this side of the mill. Try to get you a good view just to see what I'm doing, and then we'll just double check it. So I need to come down on this corner here, and maybe even down on this one here. I can tell you just with what I just did, this foot's barely got any weight on it, so this one's going to have to come down. That one's barely got any weight on it too. That means, I'll tell you what that means. Without screwing everything here, that means that that corner over there is supporting all the weight. This one's gonna come down. If I saw this one being loose, that means that we got issues. Huh, doesn't have a lot of weight on it. Squeak this one too, that means one of these is really holding all the weight. Or, yeah, this one here is really tight. Or, that means that when we put this mill together, the mill's holding a shape. And it's actually supporting itself in somewhat of a curve here. One of the two. So let me see what's happened right now. Because when I came down on that corner, it should have helped here. But this is like pretty much perfect right now. This one I assume is still high, but we're going to see. We'll put it up on that end stop. It's just very, 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 very slightly high. Super slightly. And when I take this down, if you ask yourself, well, you're throwing all your cross bunks out. No, I'm not, because with the pressure that's on those, when I take this down, it's going down together. So I'm just going to double check my pressure over here. Not going to come down very much at all. This one's got some decent pressure on it now. When I take this one down, it's going to, because it's so tight, it's going to load pressure on these. This one's loose. That's not good. It means that something over here is holding this up. Should have some pressure on it now. Yep. All right. Check it again, make sure I didn't do anything stupid. Well, keep an eye on Danny, he's off leash out here. Good here. Hopefully we get closer over here. Perfect. Alright, so the mill's level. Kind of kick on the feet. Still just squeak loose. Just gonna squeak this end down just a hair. Make sure I'm going down. A little pressure on this one. Just to give you, Danny, just give you an eyeball view here. I'm just going to run down and give a double check on the cross bunks. I'll do it with the 8-footer so you can really show me if there's anything way out. Go over that. That's perfect. 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 So right now we're all back to level. Leave my levels out here actually, so I don't have to take them to lunch with me. But yeah, right now mill's perfectly level. Now we're ready to go back to work, ready to throw some logs on it. I hope you could, if you learned anything from that. Obviously, the bigger instrument that you can use to measure your level, the better. If you, so, Danny, come here. Here he comes, here he comes, good boy. If you go along with something like this level right here, if you go along with this and you check that, you know, that mill didn't need to be moved, because when you go along and check it, you're going to see just nothing. You know, I could snap it on a rail right here. Bubble's kind of dirty, but it's going to show perfect everywhere. This isn't going to show anything. So if you have one of these on your mill and you're going around and checking your cross bunks, you know, your bubble's going to show dead. Come on, focus. The bubble's going to show dead center every single time on something little like this. This is, you know, not everybody has an 8-footer. I have two of them actually. One of them created a bow in the side here, like a 32nd of an inch. But I got that one so that I could check my rails to see if my rails have any gaps in them. And I got that one so that I could fix my other one. So I use that as a standard. That's brand new against the other one, so I can unbend it. And now the other one, my other 8-footer shows perfectly level. All the plumbs work. When I check level against level, it's reading perfect. When I flip it around, it still reads perfect. So the level reads level, but there's a slight, teeny little dinky bow towards the middle that goes up. I had it unbent down to less than 1/1000th of an inch at one point. It was 3/1000ths, but 3/1000ths is enough to show a gap underneath when you're. Let me show you what I mean. When you're using it, and this is overkill, guys. I realize, but when you start getting funky cuts, you start questioning all these things. But I use this because there are joints in these rails, to see if my rail's flat. And I can tell you that right here at this joint, now I'm not going to get down and show you, but at this joint right here, these are even, but they are a solid 16th low right here. So this joint needs to be pulled up and retightened. This joint between these two rails. That's what I got this for. And that will cause an 1/8 inch, that right there will cause an 1/8 inch difference in your cut. I mean a 16th. And obviously these won't, you know, my bunks are showing gray. These won't show any, you can't bridge 3 of these to see if these bunks are even. I can do it on these, and these are even. You know, it's hitting on all 3 of them, so it's perfect. The bubble's nuts, so that's the moral of the story there, is that the bigger thing that you check it with, the closer you're going to get it. If you check it with, you know, even if they're super precision little levels, you know, you're going to look like you're great when you're still great. You're still great. If you take that little level along and you check this whole thing and you're coming out level, you're still great, but it's not perfect. And I'm not really looking for perfect. I could have left this mill the way it was and been fine with it. Just because I did all this work and I moved the 2x12s a little bit. You know, I had to get in here and scrape along with the machine. I pulled the mill back over because it had been pushed this way from dropping logs on it. I felt it was a good time to check it. So I'm going to go, we're going to knock this one off. I'm going to go grab an early lunch so I can get back here and start milling. Mill a 16-footer off to complete this order over here. So it's basically going to end up being around 1,000 board feet. It's 700 board feet of 2x8s, and then there's some 2x8x12s, and then some 16 footers. There's a couple of 16-foot 2x8s that I cut that I don't think are great. You can see the wane on that one. So I'm going to cut a couple more. I think I have a good candidate up top to cut a couple more. And then this order will be done and it'll be out the door. Danny, don't walk in the mud. See his dog prints. Of all the places you could go before we're going to get back in the truck. Now he's leaving dog prints. Look at, you guys see his seat. Look at his seat over there. So, I appreciate the watch, and I will be